Okay, so data centers in outer space. When the idea first came around, when it was first brought up, it was a bit of a joke. But as the months and years seem to go on, it's seeming less and less so. And of course, we do have some articles pointing towards this. However, it's really not about the articles or really the news, because at the end of the day, it's really what's happening in the market. But we can see what's happening in the market in regards to these space stocks. This is the aerospace and defense sector. And although everything in there, it might not encompass everything, because we've got aerospace that's hot, we've got just space services that's hot, and also satellite itself as well as a sector is also hot. And when I was doing my scan, I did notice a few things that I did want to go through. And of course, one thing you'll realize is that everything we go through on this channel, it will always be hot stocks from hot sectors. In this case, we've got the articles lining up with the sector momentum as well. So that makes the probabilities of pullbacks and breakouts working in these sectors extremely likely. For example, I want to take a look at RDW, and I want to also take a look at it on the weekly, because I always want to be on the side of what's happening on the weekly chart. And RDW is kind of just actually coming out of what I would call a bit of a retracement. It was under its 10 and its 21-day moving average, and most of the time stocks below their moving averages are simply dead to me. But with this sector being so hot, a lot of these stocks will catch momentum. So not only is this now above its moving averages on the weekly and on the daily, but what really looks good is this rise in volume on the weekly chart. That's a lot of volume, and that is usually a really, really big tell that institutions are piling in, and it could kind of give us the confidence that we need to take this when it's coming into pullbacks and breakout areas. I mean, just looking here, just alone, we have just a clean breakout. And just before that as well, we also get a pretty clean pullback as well. One opportunity down here and another opportunity here as well. So spotting three opportunities in this pullback alone, and it's mainly because it's pulling back into the rising moving averages and then giving us tight inside days. We get a tight day here, another tight day here, a clean breakout on this buy point here, and the latest entry being the breakout of this key level, all valid entries. So whether it's pullback or breakouts, they're likely to work if they're in these hot sectors that have hot stocks. And believe me, there is a lot in the space sector. And some of the ones coming out of pullbacks could provide a lot of opportunity before they get to all-time high. I think another one that's sort of coming out of a pullback is FLY, Fly. And I would actually, Fly is a new IPO. We can see that they came onto the scene in August, so they're less than a year old. And it looks like we're getting a bit of an uptrend now that we're above the moving averages on the weekly, and we're also above the moving averages on the daily as well. And we've already pulled back into these rising moving averages, and we found support. Another great thing is that when the breakout did appear, we did get an increase in volume. So this one is a relatively new stock and IPO in less than a year, so this is a relatively new name. So I would definitely keep a watch on it, as I'm going to bet no doubt that it's going to try to make its way to all-time highs. And if we continue to get increases in volume, new issues like this absolutely cannot be lost in the noise. Okay, let's look at what is probably arguably the leader in the space, RKLB. Look at this uptrend on the weekly, and it's just absolutely been brutal for anyone who may have been shorting this or just not already being part of the ride. RKLB is definitely one of the top performers of last year, and it seems it's going to be one of the top performers of this year in 2026 as well. We definitely have a super trend, which is simply being above the moving averages on the weekly and on the daily chart as well. And it's just simple, pretty easy pullbacks into the moving averages, finding support and breaking out, pullbacks into the moving averages, finding support and breaking out. and you just have higher highs and higher lows, just making its way up. Great thing is, this is just how leaders from leading sectors act, and it happens extremely frequently. We just need to find them. So RKLB is absolutely a probably top 5 stock to have on your watch list as a whole in the market, especially from a hot sector like this. So if it isn't already on your radar, I would definitely keep an eye. I definitely can't do anything at the moment here as it's extended, and we would be looking for, something like this: pull back into the moving averages again, pull back into the moving averages again, and avoiding it when it's below its moving averages, like we see here. But of course, it is a little bit extended, so nothing to do there right now except for waiting. LUNR is what I meant to type there. LUNR is another one that's looking very strong and is part of the space sector, and it looks like it's making its way to this weekly level we have right here, and we're not that far away from it. So I could definitely expect a pullback into the moving averages either before, at, or slightly above this level. Either way, it will definitely be on buy watch for me, absolutely. But I think clearing this level is going to be a pivotal point. So maybe if you have alerts, put an alert there, but it will also highly be dependent on the way price action reacts once it gets there, because as you can see on the weekly, we are a bit extended from the moving averages, and when the moving averages get really wide, you do get more volatility in the price action. The edge here is really getting into these names when the moving averages become extremely tight. And look at this inside day, beautiful inside day, just showing us that, hey, there's no more sellers here. The sellers are all gone. There's a dry up in volume. So once you get that gap up with the increase in volume, all the sellers, they've already been squeezed out, and we just get that momentum, and it just happens so frequently. One of the names that has been actually absolutely vertical on the daily chart is KTOS, because it had what I would consider to be the most perfect pullback into a weekly moving average that I've seen in a very long time. Because I mean, look at this. This is really just a perfect setup on the weekly chart. You get a pullback into the moving averages, and we get this slight shakeout, and it gets bought up, and you just get a gap up above the resistance level here. And you can see the same thing here on the right as well as it happens on the daily chart. And you can see the contraction in volatility with a reduction in volume and then an increase in volume on the breakout. So this was just perfect. And then, I mean, it's on a 10-day run, and it doesn't really show any signs of slowing down. The last day here on Friday, we actually had an increase in volume, which is absolutely crazy after such a massive move. I've just been taking partials into strength. That's all I can do at this point. Absolutely surprised that it hasn't already pulled back. And of course, on a name like this, there's nothing we can do if we are not already in. It's all about waiting for those pullbacks, because even on the weekly, even when we go on just incredible runs, we will always pull back into the moving averages, no matter how crazy it seemed like the run has gone and left you alone. Like here we get a pretty nice, beautiful breakout above this resistance, and again, same thing. It's all about a matter of waiting for the pullback with low volume and then picking it up on an increase in volume. Here it is on this day, the increase in volume. It's very repeatable, I would say, absolutely, but it does take patience, and GSAT. A little bit of patience here for it, because it has been pushing above its 10-day moving averages, and now it's coming into that 10 just a little bit. Let's see how it's looking on the daily. Yeah, we're pushing into the 50 actually, and we have this really giant candle with a top wick. That looks dangerous with an increase in volume as well. I like that. That looks good, because it's showing us that we're getting this shakeout here, getting rid of the sellers. That means we're going to get a nice opportunity where we get to hug the moving averages on the weekly, and we might even get to catch up to the 21-week moving average, and we get that spin with a tightness in volume and then an increase in volume on the breakout. So I'm definitely excited for that, and definitely on the list as well. As for resistance, we do have a line all the way up here. So if a entry is taken, or no, this is actually quite a close level of resistance. So it would definitely be better to have a strong plan if buying this pullback here and getting partials potentially, or moving stops to break even if price comes in here and decides whether it wants to reject and continue to consolidate, or just simply break out. The play with volume is always going to be the one that provides the best edge. So however far this decides to pull back, I'll be happy about it. I'll just be looking for the tightness and to get that U-turn, that swing back to the upside. We should also take a look at GE, because they are one of the, or have been one of the leaders in this sector for a long time. Look at this crazy trend on the weekly chart. It's just a monster trend. My goodness, right? So we got a pullback into the moving averages here on the weekly, so that's very nice. Getting these always provide the biggest upside, because you're getting in with support from the weekly, and you just have a huge wind at your back, especially because it's rising. So that looks good. The moving averages, the one the daily, are a bit wide, which I would consider a red flag. We want the tightness. We want the tightness, and we want to come out of the tightness and take partials when it gets wide. So it is pulling back, and it actually seems to be getting tighter a bit. If the sector is just absolutely ripping and hot, yeah, it's totally possible that it can simply just break out from this pullback area here and keep going. But definitely getting a tight entry will always trump anything else, especially when you get the increase with volume coming out of that tightness. There's also this name called CLS that I've been keeping an eye on for quite a while, because again, the incredibly just massive trend on the weekly, just having that behind you is just incredible. But this is the last one I'll bring up today, but it seems to be in just a really A+ spot on the weekly. Look at this pullback into the 10, into the 21. We get this shakeout here. We get this buy up, another wick, or another bottom wick, and we're just getting a lot of that selling pressure getting absorbed. So the timer on this one is definitely ticking, and as it continues to get tight, and the moving average is being also tight on the daily chart, it looks really good, and a little bit of tightness in volume here. It looks like it's picking up here. So the breakout out of this pullback with volume is absolutely going to be on my radar, and it will definitely be pushing through these all-time highs here. And when it does, you can absolutely bet that it's something that I will be having my eyes on. So, I mean, these are a few of some of the space stocks that are hot right now, and some of the things that they're doing. So do go ahead and keep an eye on them. You maybe can go ahead and draw up some levels and prioritize those pulling into the moving averages, and have a weekly support, because weekly support just makes all trades so much easier and lighter, and gives you that multi-day breakout that just makes everything so much better. So if you like this list, didn't like this list, why don't you let me know in the comments below. Did I miss any hot space stocks? Let me know, and like the video if you liked it, and consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next one.